Well, let's see how much I can get done before the announcements kick in. All right, so gang, today this is Bottles on the Wall. Most of this got demoed in all the classes, but I'm going to recap it here. We've got a lot going on. You find yourself in a curious predicament. You can never remember how to sing the classic 99 Bottles of Something on the Wall song, but there's no way you're going to sing it all the way to the end to remember it. That way, too long. Luckily, you have to know how to code, and you could write the program to do it for you in much less time. First, prompt the user, asking them to enter their age. If and only if they're 21, we ask them a second question, if they prefer beer or Coke. Sorry, I'm from Texas. All sodas, soft drinks, and everything else are Coke. Save the response into an integer called choice. Next, make a new string variable called drink, and depending on the value of their choice, it sets the value to beer or Coke. The song will be sung like 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall if they're over 21 and choose beer, or it sings it with Coke. The song will be sung. Use concatenation whenever possible. Sample program is run below. Enter your age, 42. Do you prefer beer or Coke? They chose Coke anyway. 99 bottles of Coke on the wall, 99 bottles of Coke. Take one down, pass it around, 98 bottles of Coke on the wall. Very straightforward. All the way to the last verse where there it's a little different because they've changed the tenses. 1 bottle of Coke on the wall, 1 bottle of Coke, take it down, pass it around, 0 bottles of Coke on the wall. So the lyrics change, the last stanza will be different. All right, got my skeleton, got my header. I'm going to have 2 sets of prompts. First one's for everybody. The second one is just for when we need to be. Then we'll do the song. And that's it. There's no real other things, but we'll put one down just to say the last verse, just to remember that it is separate. Okay? Okay. First prompt. How old are you? Okay. And very simply, grab an age variable, scan.nextInt. There we go. Now, here's the second prompt, because remember, we only see this if they're over 21. So if there's a condition put on it question, we have to use an if test. So if age is greater than equal to 21. And then we have our other prompt. Would you prefer beer or Coke? And yes, Coke is underlined in this case. Int bev for beverage, scan.nextInt. All right, now, if they choose 2, like they did in the problem, it's still Coke, which is our default for if they're a minor anyway, and we haven't addressed that yet. So let's think about it. How can we do that? It did mention concatenation in the problem, so that means combining different pieces. What if we hard code the drink selection? Doesn't say we can't. So this is a word, which means we're going to have a string variable, and they even mentioned calling it drink. Now, I'm going to play the odds. By default, I want what it is if they're not a minor, or if they are a minor, because remember, non-minors don't even get that second question, so I need a default value that they'll have access to. So by default, I'm just going to make everything Coke. Okay, and I assign it somewhere up near the top because that's what I want it to be by default. Down here inside this if statement, well, if bev is 1, that's the only time I'm really going to change it. Then inside here, that's where I change drink now is beer. I don't even need to code for 2 because it's still Coke from previously. I only need to code the change if they ask the question and they're above 21. If they choose to change it to beer, great. Otherwise, I leave it completely alone. And again, that ends the if statement, which is only visible to non-minors. All right? So here's my setup. I've got my drink of choice. I ask them their age. If their age is relevant, then I ask them to confirm their choice. But after that, I'm just ready for the song. Okay? All this is a loop with our lyrics in it. Okay? So I need a counter. Let's call this bottles. And we'll start with 99. While statement. Bottles is greater than 1, because remember that last stanza is going to change, so we want to exit when we get to 1. And then we just have print statements. Since we're on the song, so here's where we have to play our concatenation dance. Okay, so first thing we start off with is bottles, because that's our number. 99 bottles of, and then this is where we play our first one. So everything that we are going to drink is stored in drink, and then we concatenate back in. 99 bottles of blank on the wall. $99 bottles of blank. Take one down, pass it around. Bottles of blank on the wall. Okay, now here's the problem. We haven't updated our value yet. We know we're subtracting, but as part of the song, we go down by 1. 99 bottles of blank on the wall, 99 bottles of blank, take one down, pass it around, 98 bottles. So right here in between these two lines, this is where I'm going to update my value for my counter. Bottles minus minus. Because that way, I don't have to do math inside of a print statement. I don't have to do anything else, and I'm good there. Okay? And that should be sufficient. I'll add an extra spacer in here just so that I can see the different stanzas. When it prints out, I can see what's grouped together to make sure that it's counting correctly. And then last but not least, I need to make the last stanza. So I'm just going to copy this entire code, paste it down here. Okay. And so we're down to 1. So we've got 1 bottle of blank on the wall, 1 bottle of blank. Take one down, pass it around. 0 bottles of blank on the wall. Okay. And if I wanted to, I could take this completely out and put the word 0 just because that's how they have it on the statement, or I could leave it as a number. I'll leave that up to you guys to test it. So, or to make the decision. We will test it right now. All right. So let's say you guys play around with it. So how old are you guys? 15 is a good one. Didn't give them the option. It's Coke. Let's check our values. So 1 bottle of Coke on the wall, 1 bottle of Coke. Take one down, pass it around. 0 bottles of Coke on the wall. That works. Let's check one of the higher ones. 76 bottles of Coke on the wall. 7 take one down, pass it around. 75. Okay, so the minor one works. Yay. So now let's check a non-minor. Mr. Gerald. Mr. Gerald, have one. Ooh, okay, so with them. All right, so I need a space there, but that did start the code out just right. I could use a spacer line there just to get started, but the stanza spacer did work really well. Okay, so I need to fix a few things at the top. Okay, there, and then I need a spacer line right here before we get started. And all that does is that just gives me a line of separation when it prints. Check it one last time. Much better. That's it. Enjoy.